smart TV or a $400 Amazon gift card. When you add a Flow postpaid mobile plan to your home internet, you can celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with a big screen or big shopping. Let us upsize your TV or clear your Amazon cart. Either way, you come out on top. Add postpaid to internet today for your festive win-win. Visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply.
And welcome back. The time 7 minutes moving away from the 10 o'clock hour, and we're now into voices. And I must say, man, I'm mentally fatigued. I need a bit of a break. So today, as far as me hosting voices, this is going to be my last. Next Wednesday, it should be Africa, and I assume that is going to be, because he does one every month. And then I can have a bit of a rest, at least from being on the air. You hear my voice until sometime next year. Well, on Island T, we're going to have to see how that goes and work that out. Because whatever programs we do, I think there should be a bit of a hiatus come this time of the year so that individuals can get other things done, because we have our lives otherwise also. So we'll see how that plays out. Okay, hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Oh, I got the version on a lot of things. See the SSV zone? See, if it has the potential to bring in 10,000 families, I'm saying the average family is 4. 2 adults, 2 children. 10,000 by 4. That's 40,000 people on Nevis. And growing from just one such development. In St. Kitts, well, it would take 2. And the odds would be over 50,000 to 80,000 and growing. This is serious displacement. Now the passport thing. How is this passport process to be done? I mean, what portion of revenues coming? I mean, as Edinburgh would say, we sell passports. If these people would be given passports, I mean, we sell them passports. So how that money thing going in? Now, with a passport is the right to vote your a citizen. Mark Wanley, them can't pass no law that them people ain't in favor of. We outnumbered 4-1 on Nevis. The locals would be, after one such investment, outnumbered 4-1. This is absolute madness. We are being sold smartly and very cheaply too. Because the Prime Minister mentioned regularly $250 million investment. So maybe that's the number. Now, if you do some math and you say 40,000 people, you're talking 40,000 passports. I am saying maybe they're cheaper, you know. At $250,000 a pop, we're talking one such thing. You talk about gangster business, them days wearing jacket and toy. You will arrive at $2,500,000,000. We think they make up the jail like the jail thing was scandal and corruption. People, do your numbers. Wake up. We're sleeping too much. Wake up. Wake up. Become alive and think. Think. It is not back or walk. The local backer man, them only and get a little walk. Well, actually, the bill says guarantee local employment for 10 years. So I decide maybe that's as long as the project lasts, maybe. But they ain't gonna work. And if you thinking work, I got to think of my brethren on the beach, Marcy, who now got his son employed working with him, who you telling must move when another government tell him don't move because he ain't on no private land. You know, tell him must move to the work. Go get a work from these people. We are, one must say, displacing our own rather than building our own with the promise of a job. This thing here is why the people them pushing it so hard. This is mega dollars. You see what they're doing? People have been paid. How much money, I don't know. Who get paid, I don't know. But some of this in a load of people pocket, this thing is too big. It's why the top heads them working so hard. Something ain't right about this. This is telling the people, not just the Prime Minister, but also the administration and Nevis, both of them. They ain't just outside like they started. They learn. They're moving further and further offside. They are against the people. If there were people who concerned about us, the prime agenda for them will be for the development of citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. Their prime agenda is a SSV zone and the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. Ain't nothing doing all the 100 and something bills that they have passed. You show me one that improve the lives of the people in St. Kitts Nevis. The entire administration is against the people. Kwame Ture say if you people are suffering and you make no contributions to end the suffering of your people by your very act of inaction, you are against your people. When injustice becomes the law, people, resistance is a duty. Have a good day.
Yeah, and we had an individual expressing his opinion and his views, a lot of which with I concur. So I saw no real reason to interject. So what do you feel? What do you have to say? You can let your voice also be heard. Now, my concern is that I feel our governments have become lazy. Our governments feel that they are no longer entitled to get into cabinet, get into office, and do what they did traditionally. Try to entice investors here and see how they can develop the country financially and otherwise. It seems to me from the time it was realized that you could sit down behind a desk and sign a document that says you sell a passport, it seems to me that that is the way all of our leaders tend to go. And even when we heard about this SSZ, of which I was rather skeptical, and a lot of other individuals, including the lady who called not too long ago, and the man who just spoke, we've been rather skeptical. And I wondered what was wrong and where it was leading to, and now we're seeing that it all comes right back around to this citizenship by investment. This is being sold to us because our leaders see where if they can designate a big area, they can just sit down behind their desks and just start signing citizenship by investment deals. They do not seem to be cognizant of the fact that while they are signing these deals and they have designated a particular portion of their country to be bought by external individuals, that the numbers are going to fast outnumber us, the indigenous people. And these are things we spoke to, you know. These are concerns we had when people would ask the question, okay, so you've sold so much passports. What if those people decide to come back here? And we heard, well, no, they're not going to come back here. They're using our passports because it's a convenience to get to somewhere else. But now they've brought it home. Now they're not going to use their passport to get to somewhere else. They're going to use their passports to set up zones in our proximity. Zones that threaten our independence as indigenous people. Hello, caller.
Yes, I'm back again. Yeah, look, that is the same issue that I had, right? So when they say, well, they only needed to go away.
Caller, your voice, your phone sounds a bit muffled. I can't hear you too clearly.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, you sound better now. Go ahead.
That's the same issue that I had because I mentioned, look, what about them coming back? Oh, they don't want to come here. They want the free access to go elsewhere and whatever.
Yeah.
I said, but if that doesn't come through, where do you think they're going to come next?
Yeah.
And if anything happens, if any day, for whatever reason, for whatever upheaval there might be in their country, for whatever reason, where do you think they're going to come? Again, about what? 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it was around the time of the 2020 fiasco. Again, I saw something, I came across a bit of information where they were talking about the independent small nations, and they were giving the population a little bit of information or whatever about the independent small nation, right? And this federation was one. And you know what the narrator said? The population, and this is not the first time that I have mentioned it, the population of this federation, calling it by name, is 570,017 citizens. No. I am one who is very careful and wary of certain information that comes through the media, especially international media.
Yeah.
I don't understand right now here how they operate. So I am not quick to take everything that they say. But apparently, I don't know how much or how many of these things were sold under the former administration. But not the former administration, the Kennedy Simmons administration. I don't know how many, because I don't think anybody knew much about that at the time.
From my perspective, it doesn't seem as if there were too many sold. There was some sold.
It is right the way it is now, because
that changed when Denzel Douglas had whatever epitome, and he decided this was going to be a cash cow, and things changed under him.
Right. So I am now looking at it, and I am saying from that time up until now, right? That number ain't far-fetched to me. It's not far-fetched. Because nobody here is telling us the exact number of what has been sold. Why not? Why not? It has to be that this number is astronomical. That's why nobody wants to say. In opposition, they're going to tell the people, oh, we are going to tell you. When we get in, we're going to tell you. When they get in, everybody clamp them out. Nobody's saying anything. And it's all kind of a rigmarole and taking you to this maze and whatsoever. Yes?
Carla, have our present Prime Minister divulged the amount of passport that he has signed off on as yet?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask that question because neither do I have an idea.
I don't have it. I don't know. And some years ago, I also said I believe there is what they call, quote unquote, the black market. I don't say the black market. I believe there is a white market out there. I believe, and I said this before, that there are persons somewhere out there who is also selling our passport on that white market. So we really don't have any control of it. We don't really know what is going on.
And from my understanding, individuals would have to correct me if I'm wrong. From my understanding, it seems as if when our passport is sold, we do not get the bulk of the money that comes from it.
No. And I have also said that.
Yeah.
That is another thing that I said. Those who really stand to benefit the most are those who are in the due diligence, those who are in the overseas and so on in these other countries and whatsoever, right? Those are the different agencies. They are the ones.
So what is the sense?
And we stand to lose the most.
So what is the sense, Carla, of you selling our patrimony or selling our passport, and now you want to sell lands, and we're not even getting the major benefits from it? What is the use? So why is it that our leaders prefer to sit down behind a desk and sign off on hundreds and thousands of passport, and we're getting the minimum things, and it's passport for St. Kitts and Nevis?
I think it's fair. I believe they fear these people. I believe strongly that they're told what to do. They're told to advance or push foreign policies.
Yes, I agree.
They have their plans for these areas, and it doesn't include us. So they are using our politicians because they already know that the politicians, they don't consult the people, and they already know over the years they have pacified the people to such an extent that the only thing that they expect them to do is talk. And after 3 days, it's forgotten. Just something else in the mix. Throw another piece of red herring in the mix. And then that's the new talk of the town. And then the real issue is put on the back burner, or maybe it falls off the burner.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Right? So they already know. They already know. Remember, they are here, you know. Their moles are planted among us. So they already know. Right? But they might be in for, well, anyways, let me not say that. But yes, so this is it. I remember under the former administration, Dr. Timothy Harris, I asked the question about this citizenship. When the sale of the citizenship or passport is enough, when will it end? Because we cannot continue like this indefinitely. We are going down a very, very steep incline. There is no grip for us. And you know what he said? He said he will revamp the program and then he will fade it out. Now unity is out. We were now told that a lot of passports were sold.
Yeah.
That is all that they're saying. I remember one time again when they had parliament. I don't remember who the parliamentarian was or is. I wonder if the person is still in there. I don't know. Let me say, I don't remember who the parliamentarian was, but I remember that person. I wonder if it was Mark Bradley. I'm not too certain. But that parliamentarian was talking about the number of citizenship passport that was sold, and he gave a figure. And this is not the first time I mentioned it either. And I remembered when Dr. Denzel Douglas said, whatever the number you have, multiply it by 3. And I'm wondering if that really, how many people that thing passed, whose head that thing passed over. He said, whatever number, multiply it by 3. So this is telling me he was saying indirectly, the number that you think you have is much, much more than that. That's how I interpret it. But I don't know how many people got on that. I also remember another person in opposition on air. And I think that was Freedom. And the person along the line of this same citizenship, and that person was talking about, Kennedy Simmons, and Kennedy Simmons sold these things, and only a selected few was benefiting from the monies that were made from the thing. And now under Denzel Douglas, he came and he did whatever he had to do. Whatever words he did what he had to do, and now it is opened up, and so now, and I'm putting it in my own words, it's like the net is now spread far and wide, where many more people now can now benefit. Even the poor people now can now benefit. And when I heard that, I said, oh my goodness. So this was all about personal gain.
But caller, that is what Mark Brantley has been putting forward recently, because recently I heard him in a press conference and he was saying they were complaining that nothing a keep, and now something a keep. They don't want it keep. So you understand what he's saying. So this thing where they're gonna do this passport thing and sell your lands and so forth, whatever smattering we're gonna get from it, it is at least something is happening, right? And be careful and enjoy it, because you were complaining that nothing was there. But no one seems to understand that what they're presenting now is gonna, in the long run, take away whatever we have.
But our own people wanted lands to invest, and they never gave them.
That's it.
Let me put it this way. They have a difficult time getting anything, so it makes it seem like we are not in a position to invest and we are not interested in investing.
Yeah.
And it is a lie.
It is a lie.
I mean, you're going to look over the history of a people. You see who they are. You want to purport that you know who they are, and nobody more black conscious than you. And this is what you are doing, completely ignoring this, because you think what? When the chips start falling, you're not going to be there. You're not going to be there. Because when these things, if it goes through, wherein I don't think it should, but let's assume that it goes through. When the chips start falling, none of them is going to be there in office. None of them is going to be there. So somebody is going to, whoever is going to come up now, we have to mop up that sort of thing.
And how do we mop up that when, let's be hypothetical. Let's say this vast amount of land in Nevis is sold, that gets off. They're going to follow it down here, and there's going to be a vast amount down here where they're going to do the same thing. And then these individuals, these foreign individuals who now have citizenship here, come and they have their big numbers. how are we going to be able to take back control when they outnumber us?
Exactly. And it's not only in the Federation, it's going to spread throughout the Caribbean.
Yeah.
It's going to spread throughout the Caribbean.
And that is going to happen because, for whatever reason, it seems to me, I noticed this a long time ago. The Caribbean leaders are so lazy. They so don't do what they're supposed to do. They sit down and they watch one another, and if someone does something and it's beneficial to them, all the others copy it. Because from the time Denzel Douglas went into this citizenship by investment thing, notice what all of them did. And they not only went into it, they started to rival each other to see who could charge the lease, and it just started to head down to the bottom. And so imagine your passport is being sold, you're not getting the majority of the money, and yet still you're bringing it lower and lower so that you can push out your competitor. So then doesn't it then mean that you're going to be getting less and less?
Yeah. And more will be sold.
Yeah.
And it will attract all kinds of undesirables.
Yes.
And that is where the problem lies too.
Imagine this potential person. He cares so much about us. He wants to be a part of our citizenship. He wants to be an investor, but yet still he's pushing, even in this present time when he sees that crime has gone down considerably. Hear what he's pushing? Well, the Federation is overrun with crime. And when somebody is trying to point out to him, but it has been decreasing, he says nothing on that. And here's another point too. When he's asked the question about corruption and perhaps a potential insider trading, and so here's what he says. He says, well, you're a small country, so because you're a small country, wrong is right.
Okay. Well, you see, it's a good thing. Let him talk. They are saying exactly what they intend to do.
Yeah.
So there are no surprises. 2020, they said it to you. And then you had a section of our own people who pushed our people to their debts. Until today, people are falling out. And up until now, I haven't heard one come and hold themselves accountable. Because the way some of these people were behaving, 2020, it seemed like the next step that was left for them to do is to push Mr. Timothy Harris to send the army to break down people's door and pull people out of their house and carry them to be injected. To me, it seemed like that's the way. That's the thing, that's the way it was going. To how I used to hear some persons spoke in.
Yeah, I agree with you. It seemed as if
you
that
understand?
is, yeah.
To me, it seemed like that was the next thing that was left. They only remember the poor people and the majority of people when it comes to push their interests. And I'm certain, because up until today, I haven't heard any one of these politicians and the people who they love, I haven't heard anything happen to them. So did they take that? Did they take the poison?
That is a big question.
Well, you're hearing all sorts and all kind of people. Right now, here you have well-abled men. Well, I know of one who is crippled. Another one just the other day fainted behind while he was on the road. I mean, thank God it never really, it happened at a time and a place where nobody else was on the road. I mean, these are the things that we have to know, think seriously about, because there are persons who travel by buses and people behind cars. We never know what could happen.
And caller, we cannot deny the fact that prior to this COVID thing, when you listen to our debt announcement, it was not as much as it is now. I mean, the debt announcement now is like it doesn't want to end.
And the age. Check the age.
That's another thing again.
But the thing about it is, they said what will happen. And them out there put another unit where they come and they talk about conspiracy theory and conspiracy theories. So that was just thrown in there to confuse persons who don't really know what is going on or who may not know what is going on, but try to use their head, right? So you have a whole a mix of confusion. So persons who say, but Lord, this doesn't look right and whatever, they ended up, and because of this whole, and then you had persons, the educated ones, who were attacking. I remember somebody told me that he had a pastor of a church who said, don't come and hold my hand, don't come and hold my hand. If you didn't take the vaccine, don't come and hold my hand. Well, if I were in that position, it would have been good now for him to come and confront whomsoever else. And I will tell him, hey, look, don't hold my hand. Don't hold my hand.
Yeah.
Right? If you took the vaccine, don't hold my hand. You understand? Just put it back on them. You understand? And I am seeing this same thing happening, just that what is going to take place is going to be worse than 2020.
Well, Carla, I want you to wrap up now so that I can take a commercial break.
Yes, it's going to be worse for people. Be careful. Be careful, because they know what they're doing. You see right now here what's happening over the peninsula? Isn't it just the other day in the media we were seeing this same thing they were advertising in the media about all of these jobs that were coming soon with the marina area and so on. You see right now here there is nothing. I'm not seeing anything at all.
No.
So what happened? This thing just gone into oblivion?
Yeah.
So what happened to the jobs that were promised, that were coming just now? Where are they? When nobody realized these things and put 1 and 1 to 2, add it up. You can even 1 plus 1 is 11. Because right now here we have to be exponential in the way that we look at things. I mean, we can't see that. So we're going to put all of our things thinking that what is happening at proposed for Nevis is going to be any different.
Yeah.
We matter. Anyway, thanks.
Okay, you're welcome.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM. Different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
This November and December, it's triple the fun at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Shop on hire purchase during our triple cashback season and get triple cashback coupons for free groceries. Plus, a chance to spin the wheel to win every Friday.
Join Sugar Bowl live in store as 3 lucky customers each week spin for fabulous prizes. From flat screen TVs and small appliances to housewares, free groceries, and much, much more.
It's excitement, rewards, and comfort rolled into one. Triple the cashback, triple the prizes, triple the fun. Only at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Hosford's, where style, comfort, and savings live.
This Christmas, add postpaid for a festive win-win. We're gifting you a 50-inch smart TV or a $400 Amazon gift card. When you add a Flow postpaid mobile plan to your home internet, you can celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with a big screen or big shopping. Let us upsize your TV or clear your Amazon cart. Either way, you come out on top. Add postpaid to internet today for your festive win-win. Visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply.
And welcome back. The time 10:42, and this morning it was more along the vein of religion, and this afternoon it's more along the vein of the SSZ. Hello, caller.
Quint?
Yes.
Let me just lower the volume on my phone radio. Okay, I've done that. Now, Quint, remember this morning I began my call in speaking about the COVID issue. Okay? That's how I began my call this morning. And I would just like to say again that for those maybe who missed it, a memo was leaked very recently from the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, in America, showing that from 2021, they knew that the mRNA vaccines, which we do have, Pfizer, for example, here in the Federation, that in America they knew from 2021 that the mRNA COVID vaccines were killing children. And they kept them out tight. They didn't mention it, which I think is a very criminal thing.
But the history has shown that on a number of occasions, these very same people associated with the Food and Drug Administration, they have been aware of things and they have not divulged it because it's all about making money.
Yes, because them and Big Pharma are in partnership with each other. Okay? Because Big Pharma does give them money for the programs and that sort of stuff, and a lot of them who leave the FDA and the CDC as well, because they are boots as well with Big Pharma. A lot of them, when they leave these government institutions, they got to work in Big Pharma with the companies, them like Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and you name them all. So they're all in cahoots with each other. And it's a lot of profit and corruption. And a lot of profit.
And that goes across the board, you know, because I remember some years ago when a particular economist was employed by the United States government, and he was doing certain things and protecting these banking systems and so forth. And a lot of the professors who were teaching economics made a lot of money by pushing that same agenda in the schools and so forth.
Yeah.
And when they asked them about it, they either were silent or some of them agreed that, well, it's about making money. This is about making money. And you pay, so
corruption, unending corruption. And so you see, because people believe that because people name doctors and got doctorates, and so people think that they're angels.
Yeah.
Well, since COVID, I'm not talking about it's all over, as you said, but I'm zeroing in on the medical profession. But since COVID, Mark, I used to hear it, but I didn't so really take it on 100%. But since COVID, my eyes has opened up to the load of corruption in medicine. And what a lot of people don't know is that a lot of these doctors, including here in the Caribbean, and maybe in St. Kitts, I wouldn't doubt it, a lot of them are paid by big medical company who does make and manufacture drugs and that sort of stuff. A lot of doctors are paid by them, sponsored by them, and that sort of stuff to push the medicine and so on that are very dangerous. And I fully well believe the COVID vaccine was no exception, that a lot of people got paid off in the medical profession, who are doctors and that sort of stuff, to push. And I believe a lot of people in government as well, to push. And I'm talking about around the world. I don't think the Caribbean is an exception. To push this COVID vaccine,
No. Let me make
Bill
this.
Gates did a lot of that.
Let me make this statement. We're not saying that all doctors are corrupt or anything like that.
No, we're not saying that.
I think that what happens, though, especially with a lot of our Caribbean doctors, is that we're so trusting of the world system. We feel that they're nice and we feel that their intentions are good. I'm speaking from about doctors in our region. They're rather naive, and they're because of that naivety, they feel that everybody means us well, and so we find ourselves going down paths that are not to our better interest. So I would hope that our doctors become better enlightened and not be so naive and all embracing of anything that comes from external sources. Go ahead.
Well, Quint, I believe to a certain extent you're correct. But I also believe, just like the politicians, a lot of corruption in the medical profession as well, including here in the Caribbean.
I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't
exempt saying it.
I wouldn't doubt that, but because we don't want to paint everybody with a broad brush, that is why I made the statement I made.
Sure. Yes, you have good doctors. But there might be more or less than what we think they are. And so because of that, I would like to tell people, okay, that if you knew that you got the injection and shortly thereafter you got injured, or maybe your child who got the injection not too long after died, were injured by the injection, maybe, and there has been a lot of stillbirths has been reported from mothers who got the injection, and when they got to the doctors deny they had anything to do with the vaccine and tried to give all kind of other nonsense explanation. But if such people are in thinkers who had such results, do not doubt it might have been caused by the vaccine. Do not.
But also, Greg, we've got to be careful when we're on the radio too. I hear what you're saying, and I do not disagree. But we also cannot. Not everyone is strong-willed, and there are some people out there. They hear certain things, and they might have taken the vaccine, and we don't want them to panic and start thinking the worst, because there are people who are like that, who are very paranoid. And so we still got to be careful because we don't know the facts. We know, yes, that there's been an escalation in the numbers of deaths when we hear the death announcement, but we do not know individual ailments. And so we still got to be very careful of how we put information out there. So I don't want you to be broad and put things out there, because you might have someone who is on the verge of a mental breakdown. They hear this and they take it to the extreme, okay? We've got to be responsible.
But what I'm saying is that I'm telling such people, do not think that the COVID vaccine might not have anything at all to do with it. Leave it. Be very suspicious. At the minimum, be very suspicious. Be very suspicious, because people need to know the truth. Be very suspicious, because it is coming forth more and more in studies and that sort of stuff. Even like I said, a leaked memo now from the FDA said that this thing has been causing that. And in young people, the memo blame one of the side effects that have been killing people from the COVID vaccine, mRNA, has been myocarditis. And I think pericarditis also part of it as well, which is heart issues. That to do with heart issues.
Also, there's another aspect too, because I'm very skeptical of things that come. I'm a neither here or there. It could be the memo is authentic. It could be the memo isn't authentic. So there's that again. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, the FDA has not, at this moment, they have not denied it. They have not denied that it didn't come from them at this very moment. Now, so, that is why I also said earlier, I lay a lot of these vaccine injuries and deaths and so on at the feet of Team Unity for pressuring people to take the vaccine.
What we would hope, I don't know if it would happen because our people, our mentality is so fickle. It seems to me, unfortunately, that when we as a black people sit in close proximity to individuals of the Caucasian persuasion, it seems as if though we suffer from such a deep inferiority complex that whatever they tell us, we run with it.
Yes.
So what I would hope, though, is that in the future, I hope it doesn't happen anytime soon and perhaps never again, but if we ever go to something like that, that our leaders are skeptical first, as opposed to just embracing and forcing their people to do things, especially when it's a sudden thing and everybody's trying to find a solution. Do not force your people to just take everything that comes their way.
But our leaders ain't see that.
Notice I said, Greg, I said I would hope that in the future that happens.
But what I'm saying is that they're supposed to know that because they got degrees, they got doctorates, so they're supposed to know that. Me ain't got none of those things, and I know that. So if me who ain't got no kind of degree, and me already know that, which you don't say. So how come these people got doctorates and so on, ain't know that?
It's not that it's not that they don't know. It's that certain things that people get makes them feel that they're above other people. You know, if you see me, the way I've moved during the course of my life, no one knows I have a degree. I don't.
And you said you had to?
Yeah, so it all depends on the individual, you know. It all depends on whether you feel that you're above people, you're entitled, and you look down your noses at people and so forth. And it seems as if the majority of individuals who get to that level of higher learning, unfortunately, they have an elitist mentality. They feel that they are above and everyone else is beneath them and thus entitled to be subordinate.
And secondly, in addition to that, I'm not ruling out corruption as well.
Well, yeah, that goes with
I'm
it.
not ruling out that aspect as well. Because me don't want to be there so stupid and so blind. Secondly, quickly, and I would like to say this as well. Quint, God gives us the government we deserve because of our disobedience to the word of God, and He gives us such government to destroy us and ruin us and to undo us. And our only salvation, economically, socially, from sin, from hell, you name it all, is in the Bible. And until we repent, God will always be giving us the government as a disobedient people that we deserve for our destruction, ruin, and so on. We need to biblically repent of all of our disobedience to the word of God as a people and as individuals in order for us to enjoy the blessings and for Him to take away these governments from us that are just taking us down the road of ruin and destruction. Until we biblically repent, we will always be going on the road of ruin and destruction.
Yeah.
God is giving us the government we deserve because of such. Thank you very much, Quinn. Appreciate it.
Okay, and let's take a bit of a commercial break and we'll be right back.
You found the sound. 98.9 Win FM.
This November and December, it's triple the fun at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Shop on hire purchase during our triple cashback season and get triple cashback coupons for free groceries. Plus, a chance to spin the wheel to win every Friday.
Join Sugar Bowl live in store as 3 lucky customers each week spin for fabulous prizes. From flat screen TVs and small appliances to housewares, free groceries, and much, much more.
It's excitement, rewards, and comfort rolled into one. Triple the cashback, triple the prizes, triple the fun. Only at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Hosford's, where style, comfort, and savings live.
The battle for the crown is officially on. Sugar Mass 54 presents the Republic Bank Miss Teen St. Kitts and Nevis pageant. On Saturday, December 13th at 7 p.m., all eyes turn to the Warner Park Cricket Stadium as 8 brilliant young queens step forward to represent their schools with pride, purpose, and poise. Cheer for Kimaya McDonald of Keon High, Tatiana Archer of the Immaculate Conception Catholic School, Kamira Williams of Virchow's High, Kaylin Brown of the Charles E. Mills Secondary School, Joel Nisbet of the Dr. Denzel L. Douglas Secondary School, Galia Philtu of the Baxter High School, Kato Rollins of the Washington Archibald High School, and Selena Alwani of Sky Academy. One stage, one crown, one unforgettable night as these rising stars bring talent, elegance, and school spirit center stage. Who will rise? Who will shine? And who will take home the title? Find out live at the Warner Park Cricket Stadium. Admission is only $50 for adults and $40 for children under 18. Tickets available at skandcarnival.com. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core. The countdown is on. The sweetest season of the year is here. From December 13th to January 2nd, St. Kitts and Nevis comes alive once more with vibes galore, energy to explore, and moments sweeter than ever before. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core. The stage erupts with the passion of Calypso, the sweet sound of Pan, the heat of Soca, dazzling pageants and traditions that make you love Carnival even more. Dance to the streets at Juve, celebrate folklore, and revel in the Grand Carnival Parade, a celebration of rhythm, color, culture. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core.
And I'm back, 10:59. Perhaps I'm trying to expedite the time so I can get out of here. No, not really. Just a slip. Hello, caller.
Hi, good morning, Quinn.
Good day. Good to hear you. Are you up for your next session?
I'm fine. Yes, I heard you gave a plug-in for it.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm up. I'll be sitting in come next Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, so it is interesting to see how we operate in the Caribbean, where we often put the carriage in front of the horse. It has been purported, I did not hear it, but it would be no surprise that Brantley is thinking on sealing the deal with the Destiny Project before the end of the year. But prior to Matt Brantley probably making that announcement, I heard it from Olivia Jensen about, when asked in one of the interviews that he had, about a timeline which would not go beyond the month of December. So it was interesting to hear someone made mention that Premier Matt Brantley echoed those same sentiments. Not willingly, but according to what was said by the gentleman, a lot of things that we have heard coming from that project, potential investment, was not disclosed from the NIA, or the Attorney General or the federal parliament, the federal government.
But let me ask you a question, because I kind of cringe when I hear investment and potential investment, because as far as I'm concerned, I see no form of potential investment here. As it stands right now, all we have seen is the sale of lands from Nevisians to foreign entities. That's what we've seen. What we've heard now is that there's going to be passports that are going to be sold to facilitate the individuals who are going to come and live within this given space. So it then means that if you look at it, this is not really an investment. This is something where it is going to take more from us than we gain, because as long as it takes away our land, massive amount of land, the price of which will only continue to escalate over time and during into infinity. Anything else is a loss, because if it is that individuals are going to buy passports, right? Let's say they buy X amount of passports. We don't get the maximum out of those passports. Individuals other than our government and us in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis get the bulk of the money. So that means that part of the investment, we already have a loss on that. Then the land that has been bought in this area now is going to be sold. It is presently hypothetically owned by foreign entities. So that means the foreign entities are now going to be able to sell that land at exorbitant prices and make a profit. So how is this investment benefiting us?
But Quinn, none of it makes sense from the NIA, because what is coming from the NIA is the mouthpiece of Oliver Jensen, the investor. The NIA, they are seconding the motion of what the man is saying. None of it made sense, but I said potential because it's because
it's a possibility.
Like insistent on it.
Yes,
it's insistent on it. I only use the word potential, but none of it makes sense, because what you just mentioned about the sales of passports is a total different mix to the whole thing. Had we relied on what the Premier and the NIA was saying, this was not something that they have initiated or want to introduce to the general public prior to what would have been said by the investor.
But the same potential investor is who people got it from. He said it, that they're looking to sell passports to get the people to come there.
I would have to go back and glean what he said with that part of it. But what I just introduced with the timeline, he said it in an interview about the timeline. And the way he said it is like he's not comfortable with where the negotiation has reached at this stage.
No, because that is why he's showing signs of desperation. I've said it.
Right.
When you find a potential investor who you purport to have this vast amount of money, when you find he's stooping so low that he's having interviews with every media house he could know, what does that tell you? It's a sign of desperation.
Yes, and damage control and all of that, right? So he said it in a frustrated way, but as someone who gonna have an interview with the general public, his tone of voice and all of that, it did not come out in a brash way, but sensible thinking people, logical thinking people got the message that he's not satisfied with where the negotiation is, at the stage of where the negotiation is at this moment.
And that is a
To
good.
say,
And that is a
by
good.
the time 1 month or less than one month now.
And that is a good thing for us. So here again, I'm going to tell you this. When Mark Brantley says, and Mark Brantley reiterates that they're hoping to finish this by the end of the year, again, that is another show us Pratt to catch a whale. You understand? This is to make you feel, this is to make the listening public feel like, okay, this has reached so far that all we got to do is clear up a few little things and we're good to go. So it might entice some of those individuals who are reluctant to say, well, okay, it's almost a done deal, might as well throw my hat in the ring. You know what I'm saying? It is all about psychology. People who study marketing, they know about these strategies. You understand? But here's another interesting aspect. I was very surprised to hear Mark Brantley admit that they still were concerned about certain things that they had to go and revisit, and those certain things were if the land had anything of value on it, who would own it? And he said that is a problem and we would have to revisit. So it tells you that they did not think this thing out properly, that they were more being spoon-fed. And if it is that you're selling land in that area and Mark is saying, well, okay, we've reached the point where we want to finalize it by the end of the year, and yet still you're saying the right to ownership of minerals or whatever, you're not clear on that, it shows you they don't know what they're doing. And here's another aspect to it also. If it is that you're selling land, after you've sold this land, how then are you going to claim rights for anything within that proximity when you don't have ownership?
Not only that, Quinn, they are also willing to trade land lots. Let's say, okay, because this thing is so enormous, I have a piece of lot out there, and you know what I mean? They are willing to say, well, okay, there's another portion of land elsewhere. Let us trade places. We swap this piece so that, this little dot of piece of land in there owned by someone would impede on the overall project. So let us trade land lots and all of that. That came out of some of the conversation also.
And
so there's so much.
And also carry along that vein, you heard Mark say that they discovered that the government had some land in there. But here's the thing that Mark does that never ceases to amaze me, that he gets this to work on people, because it seems as if the Mark feels like he's the most brilliant person and everybody else is dunce. Mark says that in terms of the land, he's saying that, let me see, I'm losing my chain of thought here, right? Go ahead, it's going to come back to me.
Yeah, so, and I think the budget, I don't know how much the NIA has weighed this into their budget analysis. What would be the impetus in terms of the interjection, in terms of growth to the Nevis economy, and how much they wanted to really fast track this thing so that their budget speech could, encapsulate some of what the potential spin-off in the Nevis Island administration and the Nevis economy might be. And so all of this was rushed, hurried, but as they go along, they realize that all of the dots are not, all of the T's are not crossed, and all of the I's are not dotted. And so time is of the essence, presently now, in terms of what Olivier Jensen said about his timeline to really go along or not to go along to seal the deal, or not to seal the deal to this, profit the project and the like. So it was very interesting. But like someone said, it's the general public. To be honest, Quinn, the momentum has grown, but I'm not quite sure.
When you say the momentum has grown, what do you mean?
In terms of the persons who have brought this matter to the general public, and from its initial stages where it was just something from the interview with the young lady asking these pertinent questions when the premier told her to go and read the Bible, to where it is right now, the general public has gotten so much food for thought from that time to now. So that is the momentum I'm referring to. Because if you see how they are on the defensive, the NIA and the federal parliament, which on our end is quiet, the AG has gone quiet, the prime minister has gone quiet. So it's like
it is my understanding that, but I haven't perused that. Perhaps you might be more fair on that. It is my understanding that both the Bar Association and perhaps the whatever to do with small business and industry, whatever that corporation is, that they said that they were not in favor. Yes, that they both said that they were not in favor of this project. So if it is that is the case, these are not little featherweights now. You understand? These are big.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the impetus for even the chamber and the Bar Association actually emanated from Casey Wilkins when we perused that document and we saw.
Yeah.
Because not often you will hear the voices or the voice from such. But when they do speak, they resonate. It is for the general public to really stop and listen. Wow, these voices are like, let's say, the consciences of our people. And so when they speak not in favor of, I recall such a voice spoke before, and when they speak not in favor of a project, it will make sense for us to really, chew on.
And it would also make sense that we now would understand why the Prime Minister and the AG would become a bit quiet, because they now have to do some reassessment, as we would say, go and come again.
And Quint, though, gleaning from what I have heard Mr. Jensen said, I could say that the document, the SSC Act, it was not all coming from the circle of the AG's office and persons like other jurisprudent individuals who would have loaned their expertise to that particular piece of act. It was more external than internal. Persons who would have had the consciences to say, well, nah, we cannot go along that route. It was a more external piece of document. And what has been said by the KC speaks volume to the external factor of that piece of document. Even what the Bar Association said speaks volume to that, because it seems as if the Bar Association was dissatisfied that there wasn't consulted along the line when that was the custom. Other pieces of legislation that was tabled was brought along the line. So there was a fallout when it comes to that, and that's what I got from it. That's why I can say that that piece of act is external, is not from the AG himself and the AG's environment, his surrounding persons who he would have gotten advice from. Because investors consult with other investors. Likewise, attorneys consult with other attorneys so that they can get it all right and present things that would be more enhancing to law.
Even though, I'm trying to recall that bit of thing that I was thinking about in the vein of Mark Brantley, but it's not coming. But anyway, along the vein of your present conversation, even if it is, which I will not disagree with you, that the AG, it is not his original concept, because I didn't get it that it was the Prime Minister's original concept either. But if it is that that is the case, because we very well remember, and I still have it on tape, where the AG was trying to distance himself from the project. If that is the case, though, Africa, why is it all of a sudden, rather than being silent on it, if I'm not sure about something, I'm not going to expound on it. I'm going to listen and see what I can garner. But why is it, rather than doing that, they all of a sudden decided they were going to start to be more vocal about it and be pushing it? And recently now we're hearing the Prime Minister going so far as to say that he will not detract it. What he will do, he doesn't have a problem tweaking it or that kind of stuff. Why then that they're walking down that road?
That's a good question. But repealing it would be the more expedient thing to do, because it's problematic within a lot of areas of it.
And the more time passes, the more problematic it becomes. The more we're seeing where it does not really make any sense. Because now, after all that we saw with that AI projected thing, which I kept telling people, we saw that before. I saw that when I was a boy in the Frigate Bay area. I saw that as a grown man in the Whitegate area. We did see depictions of a landscape in that area where you saw big ship docked up in that area. And I must say to myself, even then when I saw it, I had forgotten about what I saw when I was a boy, and it was impressive. And I felt to myself, hey, if this could happen. And then people began to say things like, Quint, this doesn't look too feasible, because that is the rougher side of, the seas on that side are not good for docking. You see what happens in the Barca area when the seas get a bit rough and the pilot can't bring the ship in, you know what I'm saying? And over...
Yes, that is far-fetched for fancy, like on our side now we have 3 ships in the harbor today.
Yeah.
On the Atlantic side, that is too far-fetched.
That's it.
It's
beautiful. But we didn't think about that. All we saw was the image and the big ships, and we thought, wow. And they were able to run with that for 1 term, 2 term, 3 term, and now we're hearing Whitegate again popping up. So we've been there before, but after seeing all of that AI projected cascading around the hill, from the time I saw that, I knew that this wasn't going to be any venture that would come out quickly, because it would take billions of dollars for it to be done. And now we're hearing, oh, well, you're going to wait to get past citizenship by investment to get the people to buy the land. And so why is this? Why are we doing this?
And Quint, also, that's a good question, because, okay, Destiny is on Nevis. But why would Destiny want to have an office on St. Kitts if it's not going to branch to the island of St. Kitts?
That was their intention. Their intention was to... Have you heard debate about what was purported before? What was purported before, from my understanding, if I'm not wrong, the very same thing that is over on Nevis, it was projected to be down here. But for whatever reason, the federal government decided not to take up on this part, perhaps just to watch and see how it played out on Nevis, and then they would do it down here. It is because of that why you find our present leader is kind of reluctant to let it go, because he's thinking, boy, if this thing happens on Nevis and we can sign off on X amount of passport, we can sign off on X amount of passport down here too, and make... He's not thinking that when we sign off on these passport thing, we're making... Look, in a nutshell, there's nowhere that we're supposed to be selling our own passport, our own citizenship, our own individual identity, giving you a place where you can say, this is my home, I am a Kittian, and we're getting the less out of it. It doesn't make any sense. Just that alone, you imagine, no wonder we have to be signing off on so much passports, because it's a lot of passport we got to sign off on to make some money that benefits us here.
Yes, Quinn, and also, Quinn, for how we are hearing that this gentleman is going to finance the completion of the wing on the Alexandria Hospital. That is for the NIA to complete, to start, initiate, and complete. Are you telling me that the NIA is so broke that they cannot complete not a hospital, but a section of a hospital?
And how long how long has this been ongoing?
For the longest. Like old people will say, since Noah built the ark.
Yeah.
Okay? So are you telling me it's going to be a full, complete takeover of not just Nevis, but think it's a Nevis?
Look, these people, they just came with their idea, and it shows you how they think about us. They think of us as stupid people, unintelligent people, even though they hear about per capita intelligence and so forth. They look at us as stupid people, and they felt that as long as they got our leaders to buy into it, that all of us were going to jump on board on it, and they were going to just come and take over and do what, and then they were going to be our destiny. Our destiny was tied up in them, but it's not really our destiny, it's their destiny.
And so those are things that really, the straw that broke the camel back, whichever one you want to pick on, the office, the destiny office that will be put on Senkit, or the completion of the wing, the geothermal, the sales of passports, which is new to the whole scheme of things. None of that
it has just
new about from the government perspective.
It has just come back to me in terms of what I wanted to say in relation to Mark Brantley. When Mark Brantley says that he's still not sure and they're trying to see about renegotiating that aspect of whether if you get some very, very important mineral wealth or whatever in that proximity, whether they would have rights, which to me doesn't make any sense because you would have already sold the land. But what I wanted to show is this. Let's look at Mark Brantley and the things that he's done, and let's look at that movie person that he brought into the Federation and that he introduced to Timothy Harris. And even though I still put some of the blame on Timothy Harris because he was the leader, and if Mark Brantley brings, I can understand to some extent. Mark Brantley is one of the leaders in the coalition, and he comes to me and he says, I bring this person. Perhaps, I mean, it might work where you say, look, this is my colleague. I don't think he's going to bring anything that is going to be a negative to us. But I still think as the leader and knowing all of the things, the question that were being asked of the outer world in terms of our citizenship by investment thing, he should have done some due diligence. But put that aside. That individual came here on one premise, and next thing you know, he's introduced to our leader. Then next thing you know, he's into our citizenship by investment. And next thing you know, he's one who's after the fallout, he's one who is trying to break down the whole thing. But let's look at a property that he bought down here in St. Kitts and Nevis. You see what is happening to that property now? You're there?
I knew they painted it. I knew they painted it. I have not driven there in a while. I will drive there when I go down to Serendipity when I have my guests in the hotel and they want to go for dinner, evening dinner.
Here's what I'm thinking with that. And this is why we as a people have got to be very careful. That thing was owned by us as a people, right? It was owned by an entity that was the indigenous. Whatever the problems, whatever the debt or whatever, that entity sold it to him. Since that, it has been sitting there. You know why it's sitting there? Here's my projection. It is sitting there because that is never going to come back to us. That beautiful piece of landscape there that we once owned, he's waiting now to get the best buyer for it. And when he sells that man is going to be filthy rich.
Definite. Since similarly to the Crystal Harbor and the Marina being sold.
That's it. That's
and
it.
Quint, you said something this morning. May I put some essence to it? The $50 million you disclosed I was told was 50 million EC, lest people get confused with the figures and the value of the currency.
You mean 50 million in relation to what was purported to be injected into the Nevis economy?
No, the $50 million that the Prime Minister disclosed about the Crystal Harbor.
Oh, that wasn't 50 million. That was 20-something million or 30-something million, thereabout. In the range of 20 to 30-something million. And out of that, by his own words, he had to be paying bills. Could you imagine that?
Not only out of that, I think the money was supposed to be shared between some entities. If I'm not mistaken, the money was supposed to be shared between another entity at least. Kellogg wasn't supposed to get money from that overall sum of money.
I think so, but you understand what I'm saying? I am saying, here's it. These people have things completely backwards. Here's it, you owe me. You run up certain arrears and so forth. And then you come into a deal where you say, okay, I'm going to give you X amount of money. But how foolish can we be that out of that X amount of money, I'm now going to pay the bills that you ran up? I mean,
negotiators, to negotiate with foreign investors, you need to put the best foot forward. And we don't do that. We don't do that.
But this
we
isn't.
Don't, we always
but Africa, this isn't. With all due respect, this isn't a negotiation. A negotiation is where you make a deal. This isn't. This is the impression I get. This is like, okay, so this is what we offer you, and you just run and take it because you're so naive. You don't seem to understand the responsibility that you have as a leader of a country, that you have things that you have to get done. So you're gonna. The person says to me, Quint, well, this is what I'm gonna offer you, and it's like they don't say it directly, but in their tone, it is like, well, you take it or leave it. And me, in my naive self, run and take it, and then I don't know if it's after the fact I realize, but all the bills you're expecting me to pay? You crazy? You couldn't get that work on me, You crazy? You must be crazy. The amount of, in your proximity, the audacity that you could verbally say that to me in front of my face, the amount of expletives I would have given you and told you about you and your mother and every one of your family, you understand? Because I'm not looking, I don't, look, I already resent you because of 400 years of what your color has done to me, and you got the audacity to stand in front of me and tell me this? But no, our leaders are too nice. Our leaders are too docile. Too docile.
Second and the third and the fourth time.
Huh?
I call it the new colonialism. I wrote a little piece on it, and I call it the new colonialism. I spoke about Gabby, who sang a song in Barbados, Jack, don't want me to bathe on my beach. And the lady at the question earlier asked Matt Brantley about her not able to. What if it's like some of us who normally on our leisure time, holidays, we go to the beach, Those people who are water people, water sign, born water sign, have to go to the beach. the fisher folk. That is how enormous we lose in our heritage. That's how far it goes. Where we will be. That's the sentiment in the lady said when Matt Brantley told her to go and read the Bible.
Look, Africa, I'm gonna bring it back to what I just said about me in a room with these so-called potential investors, and this investor dealing with, let's say, the Christoph Harbour thing, looks at me and says, I'm going to offer you 20-something or 30-something million dollars. And me thinking the way how my brain works, because my brain is way ahead of yours, I'm thinking figures, I don't think you would have even brought that figure to me, but I'm being hypothetical. So you brought that figure to me and you said, you're going to get 20-something. And then you have the audacity to expect me to pay all of the bills that you owed out of that. You notice what I just told you? I told you that in that forum. Now, when they come out of that room, they can go to whoever. I'm sure they're not going to do it. But let's say they decide that you think they're going to come out of that forum and says that Quint was so disrespectful that he told me about my mother and my father and my you think they're going to tell the world that? I'm asking you a question.
No.
No. So that is why I'm going to do it. In that forum, in that room, I'm going to let you know that the very same disrespect you have for me, I don't have it for you. When you walk out at that door and I walk out that door, you can pretend all you want. You understand? But you know where you stand from my perspective. You understand what I'm telling you? Africa.
Yeah, I'm following you.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And if ever, which I doubt you might want to do, you ever decide to sit down in a forum across from me, you think you're going to come with the same nonsense you did before?
I doubt that.
Okay. So this is what our leaders have got to learn. You understand? In those closed doors, what happens in there stays in there, right? It is only the parties that walk out that door knows what happens in there. And I'm going to give you such a piece of me that when you walk out that door, no matter what forum, if you and I end up in an interview and I'm across from you, every time you look across and you see Quint, you know who Quint is. The rest of St. Kitts and Nevis might not know, but you know. And this is what our leaders have got to learn. Our leaders have got to learn the art of negotiation is about power and intimidation. And not because you think you got money, you're going to come and sit down in front of me and give me what you want and I'm going to take it. Even if that deal doesn't work and it doesn't come to anything, when we walk out that door with that failed deal, you know who Quint is.
And that would be a constant reminder. This is the thing that our leaders don't have. They don't have a constant reminder of their forefathers, the blood, the sweat, and the tears. And we have to guard what this struggles for with all our might to pass it on to the next generation even better. No, we are willing to just batter it away for crumbs.
Yeah.
You know, like someone is going to come and fix the wing on my hospital, something that is my responsibility with the taxpayers' money to do. Mm-hmm. And now the man is saying these things about even the simplest thing on the island for you to do. That is an indictment against, the government, the present administration.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to have to take a commercial break. We did engage rather long. Okay, then. You take care. So let's take a bit of a commercial break, and I'll be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
This November and December. It's triple the fun at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Shop on hire purchase during our triple cashback season and get triple cashback coupons for free groceries. Plus, a chance to spin the wheel to win every Friday.
Join Sugar Bowl live in store as 3 lucky customers each week spin for fabulous prizes. From flat screen TVs and small appliances to housewares, free groceries, and much, much more.
It's excitement, rewards, and comfort rolled into one. Triple the cashback, triple the prizes, triple the fun. Only at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Hosford's, where style, comfort, and savings live.
The battle for the crown is officially on. Sugar Mass 54 presents the Republic Bank Miss Teen St. Kitts and Nevis pageant on Saturday, December 13th at 7 p.m. All eyes turn to the Water Park Cricket Stadium as 8 brilliant young queens step forward to represent their schools with pride, purpose, and poise. Cheer for Kimaya McDonald of Keon High, Tatiana Archer of the Immaculate Conception Catholic School, Kamira Williams of Virchow's High, Kayleen Brown of the Charles E. Mills Secondary School, Joel Nisbet of the Dr. Denzel L. Douglas Secondary School, Galia Philtu of the Baxter High School, Kato Rollins of the Washington Archibald High School, and Selena Alwani of Sky Academy. One stage, one crown, one unforgettable night as these rising stars bring talent, elegance, and school spirit center stage. Who will rise? Who will shine? And who will take home the title? Find out live at the Warner Park Cricket Stadium. Admission is only $50 for adults and $40 for children under 18. Tickets available at skandcarnival.com. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core.
This Christmas, add postpaid for a festive win-win. We're gifting you a 50-inch smart TV or a $400 Amazon gift card. When you add a Flow postpaid mobile plan to your home internet, you can celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with a big screen or big shopping. Let us upsize your TV or clear your Amazon cart. Either way, you come out on top. Add postpaid to internet today for your festive win-win. Visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply.
And we're fast approaching the end of another stint, 11:38. Hello, caller.
Sorry to call again. Let me say this, right? The lands that you say, like in America and so on, like Manhattan, you see all of those sky-rise buildings?
Yeah.
And those lands? The lands are not sold, you know. The lands are leased.
Yeah.
And see how many years those skyscrapers are up. You see how long they have been constructed?
Yeah.
So those now who came after and took the lands from the original people, they are the ones who benefit in.
Yes.
Right? And even homeowners up there, some persons who go and buy a house, they only find out after that, because some of them, you know, maybe again because of naivety and so on, and they don't know, you know, questions to ask and so on. And I guess they take a lot for granted too. And maybe some of these real estate people, they hide certain information from them. You understand? Because all that they're concerned about is to push a sale so they can get their profit from it. Right? But only to find out after that the land was not included in the sale price. They bought a house.
Yeah.
And they're living on leased land.
You know, caller.
And that's why.
You know, caller, when the AG came here, I tried to impress on him because he used an example of a place in Africa. And when I asked him about it, he couldn't tell me whether it was leased or not, which showed that he hadn't really gone in depth into his research. But
that's why they can be twisted and torn like that.
But Cartensia was here, and Cartensia did a little quick research, and Cartensia told him, well, it was leased land. And I tried to impress upon him the importance of lease as opposed to sell. And he in turn asked me a question, like he said, Quint, so you're telling me that you're going to tell investors that you don't want to sell them land? And I said to him, it depends on the amount of land. You do not want to be selling any investor this large amount of land. If an investor wants a certain small piece of land to do whatever, and you feel so thing to do so, that's up to you. But we as a people have a hell of a problem where you want to give big tracts of land and sell it. And he seemed to be holding on steadfastly to that about the selling. So when we see them going down this vein, we're not too surprised. But I agree with you, because it was shown in the example that Cartensa brought up from what he brought, that this place in Africa was leasing land, and the main emphasis was for that leased land was for industrial development.
Okay. But the thing about it is, if he's going to ask the question about
whether
not
I
selling the
would
land,
discourage people to buy land, yeah.
Right. But how is it in these places like America and so on? These are investors who have still built their business in the high-rise buildings or wherever on leased land.
Yeah.
These are the same persons who coming from those places down here. They know the police up there.
That's what I keep telling them all the
And
time.
that is why when they come here, and that's why they come, that is why when they come here, they push this thing about buying the land.
Yeah.
Because as long as they buy the land, they are not going to pay any house and land tax.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you come and tell me, who have bought a piece of land and build my house, that you are now turning around and tell me that you have taken possession of my house and my land, my property, and you want to charge me tax for it?
Yeah.
Aren't you see you're out of your mind?
But they do that to us.
You understand? They're not coming here to pay for none.
Mm-hmm.
Because you only pay for what you have borrowed or you have leased from someone.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. How are they going to charge you tax for your own property?
Yeah, but don't they do that to us?
Who do what to who? That is why the people want to sit down and they want to play dumb and they want to play sleep. That's up to them. Because a lot of these people, they think that being an excellent citizen is to do everything that they are told to do. They don't think that they have to question anything.
But
this thing is a colonialistic lie, you know, and it needs to be struck out.
That's what I keep saying.
Who needs to pay for the land are those who coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now here, you see the crisis in America. A lot of people have paid. They have bought a house. And right now here, they're on the street. Because they were behind in the land tax.
Yeah. And that is why it was set up that way?
Because the land does not belong to them. The house, but they can't take the house off of the land because the foundation is in. They can't take it off and go with it. I mean, put it where? You see? And that is not right. That this is a gross injustice to the people. But when you look at it, you know, their own people, you know, what a lot of people don't understand, a lot of these laws don't really apply to the people, you know, especially like when it comes to residential housing, maybe business.
Mr. Chesley Hamilton made a point when he was here where we were speaking about a specific topic, and he interjected with a thing where he asks an individual if that individual was aware of a time when anyone who had a left-hand drive, I think it was, right, or right-hand drive, I don't remember because I don't drive myself, you had to put on your car that it signified whatever car it was, whether it was a left-hand or right-hand. And he said, he said, you know why that stopped? And the person said, no, tell me. And he said, because a particular judge came here and he had a Mercedes-Benz and he decided you were not going to despoil his Mercedes-Benz by putting that horrible looking thing on his vehicle, and so it just faded away. You think any of our locals could have done that?
Exactly. I always say they only have stomach for the local people. They only have stomach for them. Because this brings to mind, I think it was the last parliament sitting when the AG said something. I think this it is in reference to the citizenship by investment. I stand corrected if I'm off, but I do believe it's that because I was not really following straight through. It's the only part that I heard because I was so busy.
Yeah.
But anyways, and he stated that I get the impression that maybe is the other leaders of this region who are involved in the sale of the passports or citizenship. Mm-hmm. And he said that to me it seemed like they were called or they were summoned to come, and I think that is somewhere in the States. Come there for whatever meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
And I heard him mention, and of course I can't repeat word for word, and I heard him made mention, to the fact that they were in a castle far away from civilization, somewhere in the countryside, right, in a castle, and they were locked in for 3 days. They couldn't go anywhere. And I did listening to that, and I'm saying, what is this that I'm hearing? So if you couldn't go anywhere, you were locked in for 3 days. It means that you were locked in for 3 days and 3 nights. Mm-hmm. And I'm here saying, well, who are these people that they went to give an account to? Who was telling them what they have to do? Right? And I'm wondering, who are these people? He didn't say parliament, It was not in a parliament setting, It wasn't in any open like this. It seemed like this was some private or secret meeting. Who were they speaking to? I mean, in a castle, away from civilization, far away in the countryside. What does that sound like?
But caller,
that doesn't sound good, right? This is a sinister type of...
Caller, you'll be surprised what our leaders go through. When recently it was a big hoopla because some African leaders went to a particular forum and they were driven around in some ordinary mini buses and that kind of stuff. And all the other foreign dignitaries from Europe and so forth, they were in limousines and all that kind of stuff. This is what our leaders are subjected to, and they don't.
And all of these things are symbolic.
Yes.
That's what I was coming to. And when I heard the ages said, they were locked in for 3 days, and I assume 3 nights, they couldn't go anywhere. This to me brings to mind the Bible account of Jesus being in the grave and went to hell. 3 days, 3 nights, went to hell during that time. And all that comes to me in my mind is the parallel. It is symbolic. What is this telling them? You were locked in for 3 days, 3 nights in the secret thing, right? So is this symbolic of you being dead in the grave now? We now have you in the grave. You're now dead.
Well,
you are now in hell.
Caller, I don't go to those lengths like you because you know how I stand.
Do.
You know how I stand with the Bible and biblical depictions. But what I will say in agreement with you, however, is that it does show how they see you. But here's what I feel. I feel our leaders, they feel happy for those kind of stuff because they don't see it anywhere near as how you might see it or I might see it. They're just glad to be in the proximity of these people.
Me personally, I don't believe they're glad, I don't believe they're glad.
You don't believe
because
so?
They have to know something is wrong somewhere along the line, but
well, when he spoke, when the AG was speaking, did you get the impression that he sounded like there was remorse or that he was relating something that was special? We went to this special place and, what kind of image did you get? You don't
I really can't say. To me, I won't say it's like special or they were happy or whatever. To me, I sense a tinge of maybe concern around all of what that entails. I don't know, because it's like when you're doing something for somebody and the person is taking you for granted and you let them know, hey, look, I am putting myself out of the way, and you have no appreciation to show. for it and sort of, that person, how the person feels.
So that's the impression that you got then. The impression that you got is that he felt that this was something that was wrong.
Something along that line. I can't really speak for him or how he felt in that moment, but I mean, at that time, no, I never picked it up that this was, I don't know, I could be wrong, but...
Well, you see,
they know.
Caller, here's what I'm saying. I'm saying if you, listening to him, got the concept, the projection that he felt something was wrong, then okay, I step back from that. But just hearing it relayed and knowing how and using the example of those African people, yes, they knew it was wrong. They knew they were being treated horribly, but perhaps they only knew it when they reached their designated area and they realized their counterparts were coming out of limousines and they were coming out of omnibuses. Perhaps when they were in those buses, they didn't see it as wrong. They felt like, okay, we're going to be going and seeing, until when they came out and then they saw the disparity. You understand what I'm saying?
And you think that they did not know that beforehand? These people, quote unquote, are diplomats. This is not the first time they have been to these places. You want to tell me that they don't know how diplomats around the world are treated?
So why then?
It goes with the title, so to speak, or the office.
So
you want to tell me that they don't know?
So if they know, then why then did they subject them? This is why I use the example of
they had no choice, and the reason why I said they had no choice because these ones up north are the first ones to tell people how corrupt these leaders are.
Caller, I disagree with you on that.
They have...
I disagree with you on that. How you mean they have no choice? But they may feel I'm corrupt, but this is why I use the example of the boardroom where I'm going to tell you what's on my mind. If you're going to, I'm with some leaders, and this is why unity is so important. Because we are fragmented as a people, you will have 10 people coming from Africa, 10 leaders, and all of them know that they're being slighted, they're being treated wrong, but because there's a unity among them, no one has the guts to say, look, this is wrong. I am saying if we were unified as a people, when we came, using your example, because I agree with that example, they well know that they're being treated wrong, but they have a choice. The choice is this. Recently, Trump wanted to have a meeting with the Latin American countries, and you know what happened? They told him point blank they're not going to have any meeting with him because of what he's trying to do with Venezuela. So you know what he did? He's not going to come out and tell the world that these Latin American leaders turn him down. He postponed it. I am saying when those leaders come and they see those buses, they point blank say, so you expect to move us from here to our venue in that?
I understand your position, right? But listen, in their eyes and in their psyche, the African leaders are different. They are not those from Central or South America or from those Latin countries.
In whose eyes? In the European eyes?
Yes. But they are different. No,
but caller, wait a minute. I'm not speaking. Here's what I hear you. I agree with you on that. But it's not about what they see us as. It's about what you see yourself as. They can see you as a dog if they want to. But are you going to represent yourself as what they see you? That is what I'm saying.
Yes, but because these African leaders have portrayed themselves as dogs to these Europeans.
So caller, caller, you brought it right home. That is why I said the AG must have been happy. Because if you're going to go in a position where you know you're going to be compromised and you allow yourself to be put in it, don't tell me about how uncomfortable you were. You must have felt that it is good that I am in the proximity of these people and whatever they give me, I'm going to take it.
Not necessarily. Because let's go back to the African leaders. You see those African leaders? Even if they did not like it, you could talk about unity. Okay, let's assume that they come together and they say that I'm going to want it. And then what happened after that?
But
you think it's going to go down like that, where the Europeans are concerned? You want them pull the Psalm on these people? You know You know how
but caller,
dirt they have on these African leaders, and they are up, and not only that, a lot of the monies that they will say that they have gotten to ill means, they are in the European bank.
So, caller,
the African leaders have to behave themselves.
So, caller, you're agreeing with what I'm saying. I am saying that the reason why they're portrayed as dogs is because, they, as you said it before, they have been like dogs when they deal with these people. So people are not going to treat you less than how you've projected yourself. I'm not speaking about those who are corrupted. Those who are corrupted like you, I agree, they have no choice. I'm speaking about people who are not corrupted. So yes, you're right. If these people go, they have all kind of things on them. They have on it. Yes, but I'm speaking about if you're upstanding, 10 individuals who come from Africa with pride and who are upstanding and who have not fallen and stooped to the level of dogs before, and you dare to tell me you're going to put me in little mini buses to travel, I tell you, go and F yourself. You understand? And then what you're going to do? And then what you're going to do?
The reason why probably none of them stood up, because none of them could have stood up.
But caller, we don't want to be going. I agree with you on that. So let's not go back there. I agree with you that these African leaders were compromised because they have portrayed and represented themselves as dogs, and they have no other recourse but to jump when your master says jump, because your master has something on you. I agree with you on that. There's no argument there. What I'm saying, if you're dealing with 10 individuals who are not compromised, who have been upfront, who know what their agenda is, who know that they're looking for their country and their people, you tell them to go on, and then what are they going to do?
Yes, I agree with you, but remember, we are talking about a past event.
But caller, I'm using it. They
were not in a position to do that.
Caller, I'm using that part.
Going forward.
I'm using your past example. I hear you, but I'm using it also in a hypothetical. I'm using the past, and I'm also projecting, because I'm saying, yes, I agree with you in those what happened in the past. They could not do otherwise, but I'm saying if you come in the future and you're going to go to these people, this is what you expect. Not that you're going to go and you're going to take me and put me in lock me up in some place. Well, suppose now, let's be hypothetical. Let's suppose now, after you were locked up in that place, on the second day, they decided to kill you. And next thing you know, back home, your people are wondering, where's my AG or where's my so-and-so? You understand how you've compromised yourself?
Well, all they have to do is put the propaganda machine into operation. You know, people are going to believe what is put out there.
Yes, I hear you.
They know how to put their story into. The people down here will believe it without giving a thought.
Yes, but you understand my point.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, so I mean, I really don't know. But all I know, according to the Bible story, at the end of it, Jesus came out triumphant. So I want to see, at the end of all of this, who is going to be the Jesus among them to come out triumphant of this thing.
Well,
you see? Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about.
Well, be brief, because
I don't know how true.
Be brief.
I don't know how true it is.
Caller, be brief. Caller, be brief, because we're 11:59. I'm going to allow you a little time to make your point, but right after we're going to go to the news. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's not going to be long. This prison thing and so on, from what I'm gathering, I don't know how true it is, but I don't know if you have heard it also or whatever. Is it? I would like to know if it is true, if according to what it's been said, that something to do with the sales of the passport or citizenship, that much of the money that was supposed to come to our country, that it's been held up by those persons who are responsible for the project, the external people, I mean, who are responsible for the project. Have you heard that?
No, this is the first I'm hearing it. But if I were to hear it, I would not be surprised, because that's what they do. That's how I have clips here that I would play.
So the monies are not released, so it's like they have it as ransom. I don't know how true it is.
Caller, if you listen, if you follow the history of Russia, right now Europe is in a bit of a quandary. They're trying to find their tails and they can't find it because there's this particular leader of a country that holds the most of the monies in their banks. I think it's Belgium, right? The Belgium leader is saying to the EU, because the EU wants to take the money that they have frozen for Russia. They want to take that money and give it to this man Lewinsky or whatever his name is.
Ukraine,
right?
Ukraine.
And the man who is this Belgium leader, their prime minister, who is the head of that bank, because Belgium is where the bulk of that money seems to be held, is telling them we can't do that because there are laws that says if we do that, we're going to be in litigation for a long time, and if we set a precedent where we have I'm going to play the clip one of these days where he says, look, before we've never done this, and here's the other part that they don't tell you. Russia now has threatened them. Russia says, okay, do not touch our money, because if you touch our money, any monies that we have for you, we're going to also freeze it. But see what happens, Carla, in terms of us, little fish. Remember you use that example. We're small. We've already compromised ourselves. They might have things on us because you know of the things they talk about, shoes and all them kind of stuff. You remember? Okay. So when they seize our money, what recourse do we have? If they're going to do that to Russia, who is we?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's how they do it. And because of that, that is why you find America is panicking right now, because the world has now awoken to the fact that this is how you do business. When we don't jump, when you say jump, you seize with money. Look what they did to Venezuela. Venezuela didn't do nothing wrong. They cut off Venezuela trade, freeze Venezuela's money, then spread the propaganda and say that they're crime, big in narcotics, come up with a name of a criminal element that existed in the 1990s. You understand? Yeah. And this is what they do.
And don't forget to, one of the main reasons why they have some of these politicians in the group, and the politicians anywhere, is that they use money, They use money. They spread the money. They spread the money around. And that is one of the main tools, effective tools that they use when it comes to some of these politicians in the various countries. I mean, if that person is corrupt, they take the bait.
Look, I saw a thing with an African leader, right? This African leader is so corrupt. He gets all these aids and monies from Europe and so forth. And you know why they give him? Because he beats down his people. He makes sure that his people toe the line. And here his son, one of his sons, travels from Africa. Mind you, the father was now presently begging Europe for some monies for so-and-so. His son goes to a place in their country, and they're watching the son all the time. The son spends this exorbitant amount of money on a hotel room, spends money on women and this and that. Back home, they're begging, but he's wasting up all this money. Those are the kind of leaders they like. They like those kind of leaders because they can, so our leaders all over the world have got to learn to be genuine people, not corrupted people, and then they can't twist you and turn you like how they do.
Yeah, as long as their interest is served, they don't care whether the politician is a tyrant to the people. They don't care about these things as long as their thing is served. Yeah. They use anything and anybody, even the church.
Yes.
Even the church they use.
Okay, Carla.
You understand? Yeah, to get involved in overthrowing. And anyways, have a blessed day.
Same to you.
You found the sound. 98.9 Win FM.
Ready to make this holiday season your biggest and brightest yet? Whatever the reason, come to National Bank this season for the perfect gifts, new furniture, or new appliances. Get up to $150,000 unsecured, or for that brand new vehicle, drive off with up to $250,000. No down payment, low interest rates, and fast approval. Whatever the reason, come to National this season. Skip the holiday rush and apply online at www.sknanb.com. This offer ends January 31st, 2026. Apply today.
Did you know that the Grange